I've always been a unique person, you know what I mean? Sort of laid back in a way, but very adamant and very passionate about what I believe. I think a lot of times that sort of throws people off because they don't expect me to have the mindset or the process of thought that I do. And so when you come in to watch my channel, you may hear a myriad of thoughts and ideas that could be different from others. What I want you to do is just sit back, like, share, and subscribe. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Lockhart Perspective. Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day.
Hello, and welcome to each and every one of you. I'm so glad to have you guys here tonight. This show is a very unique one, and it's one that sort of, I think it would be considered near and dear to all of our hearts, right? Because at one point or another, we've had someone that we love that we've had to lay to rest, and eventually one of our relatives will have to do the same for us. So we're going to look today at a few different states. We're going to start with Washington State. Well, because they were the trendsetter with their particular bill that they had that was signed by Governor Inslee. So we're going to start there, and then we're also going to look at a couple of other states that have sort of picked up the gauntlet, as it were, or the torch, and they've decided to go in the same direction. We are talking today about human composting, what to do after you passed away, what the family is going to do, and how does this affect the communities? How does it affect the community? Right now, it's being touted as something that is absolutely good for the environment, that it's healthy, and that everybody should be happy because it helps with climate change. And I want to know what you think down below in the description. There are some links, so you'll be able to click those links and look at them at your discretion, either before or after the show. During the show, you can as well. I would hope that you finish. But the deal is that, yeah, that's exactly what you're going to be able to do. Go down there and do that. Now, in tandem with that, there are 1, 2, 3, I think I got about 6 different stories. So these links will be added as we go. And you'll be able to come back afterwards. Now, here we are. Let's see where it all starts. Here's a company right there. Okay. This is the company. I'm going to go on the other side, but before I do that, I do not like to be a rude host. I have to say hello to people because, well, you're here. We had a whole lot of people. Now it looks like we've lost about 20. Somebody famous must have come on. I had a comment here before as well, and I don't see it anymore. So Ed says terrible. Soylent Green from Chris Davis. Rage Against the Machine. How are you? I love the Felicia Lockhart with all the beautiful hearts. Comment was removed. Was it your comment? I think it was someone's comment. Joy Trujillo, hello. Beckel loves Jesus. Hello, how are you? Amy Duran, it's good to see you, as well as William Craig and our lovely, lovely lady, Marty Lauderdale. Jody Porter, hello. Joey Trujillo, hello. Knowledge 2000. I'm saying hey to everybody because after this, I won't be able to say hey. I'll be going right in. So Samantha, how are you? It's good to see you, Miss Enriquez. Snark and Substance, hello to you. Sounds like my friend. Cheryl Kane, how are you? Craig's List, okay, wonderful. All right, let's see, just a question. Hello. Rave Nadir, how are you? Oh, Oz, how's everything going? Okay, that does it. We're not saying anything else to anybody for a minute. Let's get right into this, you guys, because I think that here's the deal. I want to let everybody know something, that while we're doing these types of stories and while we're doing them, I want you to keep your eye on something. Not a lot of people are talking about these topics because all of this other stuff is going on while they're implementing things that can change our lives, that can change the lives of our grandchildren and our children, that can change our immediate future. And it looks like with the, you know, just a stroke of a pen that these things can be done. People vote for it, or they've been told that it's one thing and this is what it is. So this story comes from, and I'll make it big for you so that you guys can see it. All right, this comes from the Smithsonian Magazine, and the date was April 23rd, and it was updated May 23rd of 2019. What you see right here is an artist's rendering of the Recomposition Facility by Molt Studios. So these little boxes right here, or the little quads or whatever, octagons, that's where the people will go in, all right? So let's get right into the story. The editor's note, it says, changed the story. Editor's note on October 29th, Shimbal's Christ-mocking soul that, oh, that's something that they want you to know. I'm not getting involved. Here we are. In 2015, cremations outpaced burials for the first time in the United States history. And as the nation's Funeral Directors Association points out, this upward trend is set to continue over the coming decades, with the national cremation rate predicted to reach nearly 80% by 2035. Still, while cremation has obvious environmental advantages over the burial, think of all the wood, reinforced concrete, steel, copper, and carcinogenic formaldehyde. We got to think about the climate. Carcinogenic formaldehyde needed to enter the deceased. The process isn't as earth-friendly as you might think. In fact, Laura Yan reported for Pacific Standard in 2016 that cremations release 600 million pounds of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere every year, and human composting is the brainchild of one Katrina Spade, the CEO of alternative burial company Recompose. Speaking with local news station KIRO, Spade explains that recomposition involves moving the body to a specifically designed facility, part public, part funeral home. Part public park, part funeral home. But keep your mind there, because I'm going to write a note so that I can remind you something. Okay? All right. There. Now I got that note because that's important. I want you guys to keep that part public park, part funeral home, part memorial to the people we love. In the entrepreneur's words, and placing it inside a vessel filled with the wood chips, alfalfa, and straw. After several weeks of microbial activity, the body breaks down into soil that can then be given to the family of the deceased, or used in conservation groups to nourish the surrounding land. Overall, the process uses 1/8 of the energy required for cremation and saves more than 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide for every individual who opts to use it. All right? Now, Recompose gets as close to the natural process of decomposition as you'd assume the body would undergo before we had an industrialized society. Now, this comes from Troy Hoddle, who is the postdoctoral fellow at the Environmental Protection Agency, who advises the Recompose team, and tells the Seattle Times, Brendan Kiley, that an urban environment, which is where the global population is growing and the land used at its premium, it's the most efficient and environmentally sound method of burial. Now, as Spade notes in a TED Talk, I hope you guys are following all of the keywords and the triggers. As Spade notes in a TED Talk, she first became interested in human composting after hearing how farmers and agricultural institutions use similar process to recycle animal remains and to return them to the land. In the years since this initial brainstorm, Spade has founded Recompose, established a scalable replica nonprofit urban model for composting remains and conducting pilot test runs using 6 donor bodies. Moving forward, she and her colleagues placed on researching the environmental implications of compost. Those were those with chemotherapy drugs or other pharmaceuticals in their bodies, as well as working to make their services available to all who want them once Recompose's flagship facility opens in Seattle. Remember, this is in the past. Spade says to Metropolis Vanessa Quirk, the team hopes to create a toolkit that will help cities across the world implement similar systems. To date, urban centers such as Toronto, San Francisco, Amsterdam, Johannesburg have expressed interest in recomposition. Now, it goes on to say here that writing for the New York Times in 2015, Katherine Enhorn explained that a major obstacle facing the practice of the, quote, yuck factory, as many cultures find the idea of composting human remains repulsive and contravention of cultural and religious norms. It's a contravention, is what she says. It also remains to be seen how human compost can be used, as Enborn observes that some experts cite caution, again, using livestock compost on fields containing fruits and vegetables, while others highlight the risk associated with heavy metals, like the kind from dental fillings. Still, the Seattle Times Kylie reports initial studies suggest that recomposed soil complies with the state and federal guidelines for potentially dangerous pathogens and metals, making it safe for a typical backyard or garden. Crucially, Bill sponsor Jamie Penderson, a Washington state senator, tells the AP's Lockhart that some laws that govern the scattering of cremated remains will dictate the use of human compost, because there are specific laws that they have in place that are talking specifically about what you can and can't do with the cremation and the cremated remains. All right? Now, I'm going to get off of this because I need to talk about alkaline hydrolysis, and I need to talk about a couple of other things. But before I do that, I think it's important for us to know who we're talking about and whose brainchild this really was. Let's get a good idea of it first, and then what we're going to do is we're going to click over here and we're going to see exactly what's what. The young lady by the name of Spade. Now, I just have to be fair and honest and tell you that I did do some research to try to find a little bit more information about her, and I couldn't. It was literally canned information. And by canned information, I mean information that starts with A, B, and C. And no matter where you go, you see that exact same information. No matter where you start, you see the exact same information. So I was never really able to get it. But here we go. I want you guys to look at this, and then we're going to come right back. This is from WGN News, and it's Chicago. So I'm going to blow it up, and you guys are going to be able to see that. Okay? Here we are. Very quiet, but there you go. Okay, so it's the first in the state to legalize the practice of this here. It's at the Harefield Forest, Hareland Forest, north of Columbia River Gorge, George. Okay, but I want you guys to pay close attention.
So this is a NOR cradle.
See where the body goes in with the chips and the bacteria?
Compost has to be turned to make the compost, because the organisms will consume the oxygen that's around them, and then they need more oxygen or else they'll go into the methane production. Periodically, we have to rotate the compost pile just like any other compost pile. And so by building the insulated coffin, we call a Nor cradle, like a large spool of thread, so it can be rolled by hand without having to have machinery involved. We want to do this as off-grid as we can do it. This is simply another option at a time when people feel they have no options. You know, the death has intervened and changed your life forever. How can you do something at least to make it the way you want. This is another option to allow people to decide how they want to control their passing.
So it's a way that people can control how they basically pass, is what they're saying. All right. So now this goes on to say that Oregon, because this is for Washington, right? So Oregon could become the second place to allow human composting. Let me make sure that my mic is open. Okay, great. So that Oregon can become the second place to go along with the whole shebang. Now it says that this is an archived article and the information in the article may be outdated. Please look at the timestamp on the story to see when it was last updated. Now, I'm using this specifically for a timeline because this was posted March the 2nd, 2021, updated March the 2nd, 2021, and we're a year later, but we're headed to where we are right now in real time. So it does go on ahead and say pretty much the same thing, but this is talking about Clackamas County. All right, known for their passion for environmentally friendly pursuits such as recycling, Oregonians could take those commitments to the grave if the state lawmakers pass a bill allowing human composting as an alternative to traditional burial or cremation. House 2574, sponsored by the Representatives Pam Marsh and Brian L. Clem, would allow the bodies to be disposed of by alternative processes, including natural organic reduction, colloquially known as human composting. Colloquially known as human composting, so it's natural organic reduction. There are some products that you will see that actually have that term. That's out there right now, okay? All right, so it says it also clarifies the rules surrounding alkaline hydrolysis, known as aqua cremation, and extends other funeral industry privileges and responsibilities to include reduction. The bill was slated for a public hearing on Monday afternoon in the House Committee on Business and Labor. It goes on to say that nearly 100 people had submitted written testimonies as of the past Monday the Monday morning, overwhelmingly in favor of the bill. 100 people overwhelmingly in favor of the bill. Most cited environmental reasons for their desire to be composted. Cremation uses more energy than composting, and traditional burial involves harsh chemicals and takes up land. Quote, knowing that my remains could benefit the environment that has given me such a joy over the years, gives me peace, wrote Milwaukee resident Darren McRae. If passed, the bill would take effect July 1st of 2022 and would make Oregon the second state in the nation to permit the practice. Washington became the first state to allow the natural organic reduction in 2020. In late December, 2 facilities received their first bodies and process officially got underway. So that's that. Now I want to take you here because we're building all of this together so that we can look and see exactly how this all started and where it all came from. Here's the deal. Remember, I wanted you guys to remember the post part this, part that, part this and that. Here's what they didn't tell you. It's a part this. So this is a tribe that is in Washington. I've never heard of the tribe, and that doesn't mean anything. You know, we're Cherokee and we are Creek. I've never heard of them, but I'm sure that they've been around for some time. I did do some research on them. Everything that I find is sort of Americanized. It's sort of like, you know, this governor, that person, they're wanting to fight this and they're trying to get their land back. But listen to this. At the end of Recompose on their website here tells you where they are as it relates to what land they're using and who they want to thank. And here it is. Let me close this tab. Land acknowledgement. The land acknowledgement is here. Recompose acknowledges that we make our lives and the livelihoods on the lands of the Coast Salish people, specifically the Duwamish people. We honor with gratitude the Duwamish people, past and present, the land itself, and the Duwamish tribe. Colonialization is an active, persistent process. Indigenous communities continue to be resilient in the protecting their ecological and cultural lifeways and deathways despite ongoing oppression. Recompose respects and shares and supports the commitment to climate healing and environmental justice. Join Recompose in contributing to the Real Rent Duwamish. Look at this. When you click that to go to Real Rent Duwamish, let's go ahead and see what it does. So pay rent. Sign the petition for federal recognition. We sacrifice our land to make the city of Seattle a beautiful reality. We are waiting for our justice. Meanwhile, they're using this land. Okay. What is real rent? Real rent calls on the people who live and work in Seattle to make rent payments to the Duwamish tribe through the city named for the Duwamish leader, Chief Seattle Thrives. The tribe has yet to be justly compensated for their land, resources, and livelihood. And you can do something today to stand in solidarity with the first peoples of this land by paying real rent. All funds go directly to the Duwamish tribe, the tribal services, to support the revival of the Duwamish culture and the vitality of the Duwamish tribe. Yep. But when you go and you start looking up this tribe, there are YouTube videos, and some of them are showing disputes. Some of them are showing arguments. Some of them are saying he said, she said. I won't play them because they are YouTube videos, but just trust and believe it's good and it's worth you looking to see who this tribe was. Find out. They have this, they say that they came from way back. Now, I'm not saying they didn't. What I'm saying is it's very convenient that this is the land that they're using. It's very convenient that they've not been recognized. It's very convenient that you can donate money and it will also go to the cause for this land. But they're not recognized. Anyway, let me move on. We'd have to be on another platform for me to really get deep into this right here, but I'll just tell you that if you read it, you may find it quite an interesting read. The link will be down below in the description, but you must follow the little breadcrumbs because the breadcrumbs are very, very unique. All right, so now, the tribe does not benefit from the federal recognition. The Duwamish do not have just access to the resources of their homelands after decades of resistance to ensnare. The erasure of the Duwamish remain unacknowledged by the federal, state, and the local governments. So the redistribution of resources is one concrete step towards justice. However, they are using these people's land. The two do not connect. I'm just going to leave that there. Because I can see me getting a little bit overexcited and I don't want to go there. All right, so let's go on ahead and let's take a glance at what's going on with Colorado. They laid the first legally composted remains, laid the first person to rest. All right, they lay the first person to rest. A funeral home laid to rest Colorado's first legally composted remains. This was this year. This was literally this year. And this was March. Okay. March the 21st. Here we go.
Have people gathered to plant new life.
Welcome to the Colorado Burial Preserve.
After the end of someone else's.
It will be a foundation for the seeds that we're mixing into that soil today, and it'll be the foundation of life here forever.
Seth Vidal runs the natural funeral. On the day of the spring equinox, he was ready to give back to the earth the remains of the first person in Colorado to go through human decomposition after death.
They were laid in as a beloved, and they will lay out as a living soil gift back to this preserve.
We're here to reverentially honor the trailblazing choice that this Colorado family has made.
6 months inside a handmade vessel filled with wood chips, alfalfa, and straw
This process is called natural reduction.
led to a Sunday afternoon outside of Florence, Colorado.
We're going to mix flower seeds and natural native grass seeds into that soil, and the group is going to be invited to participate in giving that soil back to this preserve.
Soil, energy, and life.
And I would love for everyone to take advantage and take a scoop. It doesn't have to be a big scoop.
Relationships with the earth
The cycle of life is truly going to continue as a result of what's happening today.
that only now can grow. There are currently 16 people going through the decomposition process in vessels across Colorado. The plan is to continue building dozens more for people who want to be laid to rest like this. In Fremont County, I'm Mark Salinger, 9 News.
Thank you, Constance. I appreciate you. All right, so I know. All right, you guys, let me ask you something. Isn't there a company called Kate Spade? There is a Kate Spade, right? Didn't she pass away? It wasn't there. Let me see, you guys. Wasn't there a Kate Spade that passed away, and she was a designer, right? Well, this is Katrina Spade. I don't believe. Let me just be quiet. I think there was a Kate Spade, and so nonetheless, you cannot find much about this lady at all. It's the same canned story. But anyway, it goes on to say here that Katrina Spade, the founder and the CEO, okay, Katrina, as she likes to have herself, so pleasantly called, Katrina, she, her, has been an entrepreneur and a designer since 2002. She has over 15 years experience as a project management, finance, and architecture, with a focus on human-centered ecological studies solutions. While earning her master's of architecture, Katrina invented a system to transform the dead into soil, which is now patent pending. In 2014, she founded the 501c3 Urban Death Project to bring attention to the problem of a toxic, disempowering funeral industry. In 2017, she founded Recompose, a public benefit corporation. Katrina has a BA in anthropology from Haverford College, and a Master of Architecture from the University of Massachusetts Amherst. She has been featured in The Guardian, NPR, Wired, Fast Company, and the New York Times. She is an Echoing Green Fellow. She's also an Ashoka Fellow. When I looked at the Ashoka, no, I'm not going to do that to y'all. You guys look up Ashoka, okay? I'm sure it's no secret that, she's got a lot of great connections with a lot of people all around the world. She's new in this, whole entire game, and all around this world, she's got great connections. And she is a Echoing Green Fellow as well. All right. So that's who she is, Katrina Spade. There are several other people that are here, several other people that help her along the way, getting all of these things together. She also has some advisors, and some of the advisors are worth looking into as well. There's Alua Author, who is a death doula. There is also Eric Bondo, who's a mechanical operations lead consultant. She's got Lynn Carpenter Boggs, which is a PhD dealing with lead soil research advisor. So she's got a lot of great heavy hitters that are working with her to help get this going. The history from its germination, Recompose, has been a progressive company. Our ongoing success is thanks to the many collaborators and supporters who have spent years sharing this mission. So it goes to tell you from 2011, a seed is planted, and then the fall, designing the seed. 2012, the power of microbes. 2013, a space for the urban dead. 2014, Echoing Green, and 2014, the Urban Death Project. Okay. The Urban Death Project, the fellowship allowed Katrina to focus on ecological death care full-time. In 2014, she founded the nonprofit Urban Death Project, UDP. Experts in soil, science, engineering, project management helped develop the initial human composting system. Architect Alan Maskin became an early advisor, and his architecture firm, Olson Kundig, hosted a design share it at the Seattle office. Now, isn't Seattle, are there any famous people that you guys know of that are from Seattle? Anybody? Is there anybody that anybody knows that's famous from Seattle? I wonder if they own a lot of land, some of the people that are in Seattle that are famous. Now, it goes on to start talking about the first study. Spring of 2015, the first study, 2015, Katrina worked on the rest. Now, here's what I thought was amazing. Okay. In Western Carolina University, Professor Cheryl Johnston to test the NOR concept with the Department of Forensic Anthropology through WCU's Forest Forensic Osteology Research Station. Now, Dr. Johnston and Katrina completed the process on a human body for the very first time. That wasn't in Washington. That was all the way out in the Carolinas, in Western Carolina, okay? This milestone was covered by the New York Times and Recompost advisor Caitlin Doty's second book, From Here to Eternity, all right? From Here to Eternity. So with that said, let's get into some questions. If you guys got some questions, because I got a lot of information over here. It's like, it's making me get like, because I really want to give it all to you. But if you got some questions, throw them, because there's all the answers I got on all these tabs here just to give to you. But I will tell you that the Kickstarter campaign started in 2015. Also the spring, she did her TED Talk. And I really wish that I could play that, but let me give you guys the link to that TED Talk so that you guys can go and see it. Now, what I will tell you is she's a very compelling speaker. She's an unbelievably compelling speaker. She's very calm. She's very cool. She's very collected. For her to be so young, she's very well maintained. Very, very unique. Very unique. And it is a TED Talk from spring of 2016 called When I Die, Recompose Me. It's a TED Talk. When I Die, Recompose Me. Now, here are the core. These are the actual vessels here. from core to vessels. This is how they imagine it. You notice all of that? Well, you can actually, afterwards, you can actually sprinkle your people on this stuff, on your plants and on your garden. I think it's amazing, but that's what it is. Let's talk about where it actually started. I'm going to leave the link down here. You guys, it's worth clicking and looking and finding and seeing some of this amazing stuff here. Amazing stuff here that they got going on. All right. Some of the people that are involved, you'll be amazed to see some of the organizations that are involved. Her Ashoka New World type of involvement with Ashoka, a few other organizations that, yeah, she's one of 12 children from New Hampshire, I believe. Okay. All right, so she's got a great timeline here. Everything is here. Everything is here for you guys to thumb through it, but we don't got that kind of time. So what I'm going to do is right now just let you know exactly whose brainchild was this that she stroked a little, or somebody who, whomever it is that sponsored this young woman, made sure that it got to the right people that were probably all a part of the same party all along. I don't know. I'm just saying, maybe, maybe not. But I do believe that they all are in this, because to me, it's an amazing thing to be considered human compost when you die. I mean, all these years, you know, I tell everybody in my family, they already know, just wrap me up in a sheet and put me in the ground. Don't have me hanging around for no months and waiting for everybody to come catch up, and everybody got to get their money together to get Uncle Bubba over to the funeral. Don't do all of that. Wrap me in a sheet, put me in my grave, and leave me alone. Okay, don't do all that fancy stuff. Only fancy thing I want is that Louisiana music. Do it, baby. Do it. Washington Democrats sign a bill allowing human composting in the state. Now, this comes from this particular Neon Nettle, and it is May the 22nd, 2019. Here's the guy. All right. Here's the guy. I'm going to make it larger so that you guys can see it as well. But first, let me make sure that that's what's showing. All right. There you go. All right, so listen to this. Washington State's Democratic Governor Jay Inslee signed a new bill into law on Tuesday, as of the date of this writing, allowing the composting of human bodies as an alternative to burials and cremations. The move makes Washington the first state in the country to legalize human composting. Governor Inslee signed Senate Bill 5001 into law following a push from Green campaigners. The bill makes it legal to compost human remains using a process called natural organic reduction, along with another practice called water cremation. The law also authorizes the use of alkaline hydrolysis, already used in 19 states, which uses heat, pressurized water, and chemicals like lye to reduce the remains two components of liquid and bone, similar to cremated ashes that can be kept in urns or interred, according to the Associated Press. Human composting will be legal May of 2021. It's a little bullet point there, and we already know it's already legal. All right, so Katrina Spade, the founder of Recompose, a company that wants to give people alternative choice to cremation and conventional burial, said they worked with Washington State University to test its safety for environmental and health and human health. 6 people donated their bodies for the studies. With cremation, now the irony is I remember reading this last year, and the original story said that they took the people out of the state, that the people were not from that state, that they did it in a totally different state. But I digress. So 6 people donated their bodies for the study, and it says, quote, with cremation, you have the burning of fossil fuels and emission of carbon and mercury particulates into the atmosphere, said Spade. With conventional burial, there is quite a bit of a carbon footprint from the manufacture and transport of the caskets, grave liners, and then the upkeep at the cemeteries. And it's just all of, it's all about the environment, you guys. We have to protect the environment. According to Fox News, Troy Huddle, this is her right here, okay? But according to Fox News, Troy, a Hoddle Fellow at the United States Environmental Protection Agency, told the Seattle Times earlier in the year that the method is as close to the natural process of decomposition as you assume a body would undergo before we had an industrialized society. Okay, so there are licensed facilities in the state will offer a natural organic reduction. The body is mixed with substances like wood chips into about 2 wheelbarrows worth of soil in a span of several weeks. Loved ones are allowed to keep the soil to spread, just as they might spread the ashes of someone who had been cremated, or even use it to plant vegetables and a tree. Let me make that bigger for you. Loved ones are allowed to keep the soil to spread, just as they might spread the ashes of someone who has been cremated. Or, this is usually in a sales pitch. This is, as a salesperson, this is the one you really want them to focus on. Okay? I know it's not letting me, but this is the one you generally want them to focus on. You want the listener to focus on that one. You know why? Because even though you said this and it seemed like a lot of words up at the top and it appeared to be weightier because you said it first, the last thing that they're going to remember is you could use it as a way to plant vegetables or a tree. And that's what I really wanted to drive home, because that is what the real goal is. This is the young lady, Katrina Spade, the founder of Recomposed, pushed for human composition to be legalized. Quote, it gives meaning and use to what happens to our bodies after death, comes from Nora Menken, executive director of the Seattle-based People's Memorial Association, which helps people plan for funerals. The bill, SB 5001, takes effect on May 1st. Let's see what that bill looks like. Is the bill anywhere in here, or is this what we just got the glancing at? Oh, you're not getting anything from me. Okay, let's read the bill. There it is. And I'll share this with you. All right, here it is. Washington Legislature, SB 5001, 2019 through 20, concerning human remains. All right. These things, even though they seem to be a little bit unique and a little bit interesting, here's the deal. As we're looking at all of the bigger pictures that are going on around us, this is where our eyes need to be. I like to focus specifically on the things that concern us on a daily basis. The things that may concern us across the pond or in other countries or in other places, those things have their place. You know what I mean? They have their place. They have their weight. Some of those things are going on are really, really sad. It's terrible, some of the things that we see. However, we have got to focus on these things that are going in and out and that are becoming law and that are now setting precedents in other states. Once they set precedents in a state, it seems to be, hey, no problem. Everybody is doing it. Everybody is doing it. And so we shouldn't have a problem with just welcoming this type of concept in, is what you're thinking, because that's what they want you to think. But SB 5001, 2019 through 2020, concerning human remains, was sponsors. Sponsors are Penderson, King, Rivers, Kaiser, Palumbo, Saldana, Leas, Carlisle, Conway, Crudurer, and it looks like Van de Wey. All right. The companion bill was HB 1162, and I'm going to look at that in a second. But here are the documents. Here's a video. I don't want to get into the video because I don't know what it's all about, but if you go through this, you will see that it went ahead and it did all the pre-filing, told you who was doing what. Here's the thing. Does your state have something like this? There's an actual list of states that you can look at to see what your state's laws are with regards to burial. What does your state say? What does your state say? Is this something that could be happening in your community? Is it already happening in your community? Have they already given rights or leeways to people to start using it in farms? how much medication is left inside of the person's body. Now, they did say that the chemotherapy and very heavy metals and heavy toxic things like that, they would be able to do away with. But how do we really know? And even though it's given to us as this very benign form of a way to say goodbye to our loved ones, is it? Or is it something else? Is it bigger than what it appears? Is it a little bit more unsettling than the benign way that it's being given? Maybe. But let's look at the companion bill. It'll probably be the first bill, and then maybe they squashed it or something. Let's see. Okay. This is the companion bill, HB 1162, concerning human remains. Go to the documents. I don't wanna. You guys can go to the documents. But here's the deal, you guys. I'm just coming right out and say it. All of this stuff is being pushed because they're going someplace. They're going somewhere. And so between now and 2030, all of these things had to be put in place. And when you finally are done with them pulling your braids one way and then your hair another way, and you're looking and getting whiplash from all of the stuff that's being thrown at you, you're going to have a brand new world in front of you. You're going to have a brand new place right in front of you. So we have to look at these types of things so that we understand exactly what it is and what it's not. What it is and what it's not. Because if you don't know about this, and this is going on in your community, and you've got something to say and you don't want it to go on, then you should be able to speak up. I don't exactly know if it would happen or work, only because of the fact that a lot of these people look like they were put in place on purpose. In tandem with that, you'll notice that everything is going on starts in the West. It all starts in the West. It'll start in California, it'll start in Washington, and then, of course, you've got Oregon, you've got all the other areas, you've got the Colorados of the world, you've got all that stuff. And then it sort of, like a cancer, spreads and metastasizes across the cavity of the United States, right across the ribs of the United States, from one place to the next place. And this is exactly what this is going to do. So let's see how many more minutes we've got. I think we're already at that point where we're going to have to say goodbye. I don't like to hold you guys too long, but what I will tell you is all of these will be down below in the description. Every one of the links will be down below in the description. You'll be able to see it yourself. You'll be able to ask the question to the people that are near you or in your community and say, why are we doing this? Is this happening here? And you need to just really be honest and say, this is not healthy. Because if they're able to do that last sentence that we just shared, and that is to put the people on the garden, that lets you know, bingo, bingo, bingo. Tie that to the question that I asked, what famous person is from that area? Tie that to the question. Tie that to the question. The very last statement was, you could even put it on fruits and vegetables. No, that's what you want to do. Yes, it is. I'm not crazy. That's exactly what we're talking about. Okay? That's exactly what's going on. They want you to put it on your fruits and vegetables. They do. And with that, you'd have to also look at the human sludge conversation. All right? You have to look at all of that. You have to look at the robots that are able to tell you there's like this little slimy thing that we have a story coming up here very soon. And it's a very slimy little piece of graphene, and it's like it moves and it can put it, it's like a robot. It goes in the body and it can tell you everything. Well, don't you know that if you give enough information into some of these databases, that this company says that they can literally help you plan in advance the burial or the death or the going home of your person. They don't call them a loved one with the company. They call them a person. That's what they call them, a person. I can show you that before we go because I want you to see that. The environmental, the impact, the process. Here's the process. And let me share this tab with you right here. So the process starts here, okay? Let's hope that you can still hear me, and let's hope that you can still see me. All right, there we go. This is the process. The graphic below illustrates how the Recompose approach to human composting works. Microbes, oxygen, and plant matter combine to gently convert human remains into soil. Okay? This is how it goes. All right, this is the laying in. Phase 2 is laying in. Let's go. What was phase 1? Phase 1. Oh, it lets you twirl them. But that's all you can do. Okay, well, anyway, this is this. There you go. Phase 1 begins. All right, so the natural organic Recompose, or NOR, also known as human composting, is powered by the beneficial microbes that occur naturally on our body and in the environment. Okay? Now, the second step, or the second phase, laying in. Okay, in a cradle surrounded by wood chips, alfalfa, and straw, the cradle is placed into a recomposed vessel and covered with more plant material. Now, the next stage is going to be 3. Material remained in the vessel for 30 days. The microbes break everything down on the molecular level, resulting in the formation of a nutrient-dense soil. Phase 4 is the cubic yard of soil amendment, which is the removal from the vessel and allowed to cure. Once completed, it can be used to enrich conservation land, forests, or gardens. So it's not just putting them in an urn like you would if somebody were cremated. Okay? It's just not. So then it goes on to tell us what phase 5 is, and that says that it's a life after death. The soil created returns the nutrients from our bodies to the natural world. It restores forests, sequesters carbon, and nourishes new life. Wow. Okay. So the forest is here. Welcome to Bell's Mountain. The forest is legally protected natural wilderness and will remain so in perpetuity. Can somebody tell me where this land was before, who it belonged to before? What was it before? What was it bumped up against? What city? Who else had it? Was it ever loaned? Was it ever given? I tried to look that up. Was this ever donated to them? Where did they get this from? This forest is a legally protected natural wilderness and will remain so in perpetuity. Looks a lot like some land that I know somebody had put their hands on. The land's caretakers use the soil donated by Recompost to support the continued revitalization of wetlands, riparian habitats, local plants, and vulnerable wildlife species. Bell's Mountain is an ecological restoration, and it's managed by Rememberland, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. The forest needs you. Following a century of abuse and neglect, cleared lands battered by the natural sun and wind are left with degraded soils and stunted forests. The soil Recompost delivers will enrich, covering clear-cut fields, helping them to flourish once again. Healthy soil empowers agroforestry, holistic range management, and ecological development, all of which reduce negative climate impacts and contribute to the regeneration of natural ecosystems. The greenhouse, the Recompost first location called the greenhouse, is located in Kent, Washington, and we have this name because the greenhouses are where the seeds germinate and plants get their start. This is that. Okay? And this is Katrina. The vessel. The greenhouse contains 10 recomposed vessels where the transformation from human to soil takes place. Each vessel is a steel cylinder 8 feet long and 4 feet tall. The vessels are constantly monitored by our technical interface and our staff. We designed the recomposed vessel with nature in mind. Please note that we do not offer tours at this time, it says, as of the date of this writing. Laying in Recompose calls the practice of placing the body into the vessel laying in. Each body is laid onto a bed of wood chips, alfalfa, and straw, and over the next 30 days, they are in this container. Everything breaks down to natural decomposition. The laying in marks the moment the transformation into the soil begins. It represents a moment of transition. We invite family members and friends to join us for their persons. their persons laying in if they choose, currently via video streaming. At this time, we are not hosting in-person gatherings. Okay? Here's some frequently asked questions for you. How it works. How does the human composting work? I think we've already read that though, right? Gentle transition. Talks about the microbes. Okay, well, what happens to the bones and teeth? Some of you probably asked that. In the human composting process, everything is transformed, including bones and teeth. By controlling the ratio of carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and moisture, human composition creates the perfect environment for microbes and beneficial bacteria to thrive. Recompose staff also rotate the recompose vessel at several points during the process to ensure thorough aeration and decomposition, which helps us break up any remaining bone fragments and teeth. At the end of the process, recompose staff screen for non-organic, such as implants, which are recycled whenever possible. Just like in cremation, any bone fragment that remains larger than 1 centimeter are further broken down before the soil is returned to the families. So there's also a couple of other questions here. How long does the composting take? Which we've already touched based on. Okay, but I thought the bones and the teeth were very good because we hadn't looked at that. And then also, of course, it has been answered, could the people tour at that point? And as of the date that this was made, they could not. So it does also have the environmental impact. Why is human composting more eco-friendly than burial or cremation? And how does human composting reduce the carbon footprint? All right. Much of the soil is created by how much is created by human composting? Well, human composting creates 1 cubic yard of soil per body. The process begins with 3 cubic yards of plant material. Families can either take the soil home once the process is complete, or they can donate some or all of it to conservation efforts. I'm done. We see because we know exactly where this is headed. We see because we know exactly where this is headed. These are the places that I keep our eyes. I keep our eyes below what all that big stuff is, because I know that if you're like me, you're seeing all these things pass and you want to understand it. So I thank each and every one of you guys for being with us tonight. It's been a nice hour. We're at the 57-minute mark. And I just want to thank all of you guys. We have another doozy that's coming up, but this one I've been working on for close to 6 or 7 months. And this one you're going to want to watch. So if you had the opportunity to come in late, please do me a big favor and watch the replay. And if you are trying to figure out a way to help keep me working on this channel as well as the others, you are more than welcome to give any donation that you choose to right down there by clicking the little box. Now, of course, YouTube gets a little bit of that, and that's okay, because that keeps me where they need me to stay and where you need me to stay. So if you are interested, please hit that little button down there, and you can just give any amount that you'd like. Any little amount doesn't matter. Also, if you'd like to give, you can also give on PayPal. And the link is on the homepage, or you may give CashApp. Either one, it's your choice, and I appreciate no matter how small or how big. Had to make sure we say that. Please share this. Rachel Van Zyl, it's great to see you. Rick the Explorer, would you guys please share it out if you have the ability to? That would be great. The next story that we're going to do is a doozy. I will be posting that up very soon, and you guys have to tune in to see this one, because it's amazing how we can repurpose people from one position to another if they did not make it in the last place. They didn't make it in the last place. Now you can repurpose them and just stick them someplace else. All right. So for everybody that I did not get the personal chance to say hello to, you know I love y'all, but I will go on ahead and let you know that the one thing that I always say, because you see where this world is going today, and that is that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of our true and living Savior. You guys remember to take care of yourselves. Take care of yourselves and take care of one another. Did I see Black Spring with Autumn pop in? Hello, Black Spring with Autumn. I think I did see you. Christ Soldier, everybody. Fang Meister, haven't seen you in a while. Love you, sweetheart. I love all y'all. You know what? I'm sorry for those people who want to go. I understand. But I got to love you guys. I got to say hi because somebody probably haven't even said hey to you all day. Hey, Black Spring. Okay? Hey. All right, somebody hasn't said hey to you guys today. Christ Soldier, Magic Carpet Ride, hey. Okay, Rachel, Harmony, 222, room 222. Okay, room 222, David Bentley, hey, how's it going? All right, we're going to hurry it up. Suspicious by Nature, good to see you, baby. All right, Amy again, hi. All right, Samantha, okay, looks like we have said hello to everybody. Becca loves Jesus, Rick the Explorer, Rick the Ruler. Hey, what's going on, Adam? Okay. Yeah, so you guys, I think it's a lot about us not really keeping our eyes on the stuff because, you know, it's just so unbelievable, some of it. Hosea's 23, how are you? Okay. DG, what's good? Hello. Hey, Tam 5, it's good to see you. YZ, good to see you as well. Okay. All right. Paige B, what's going on? Maureen Olson. Yeah, it's important to say hi to people, you guys, because this is how I see it. You know what? You never know what somebody is going through. And it's always good to let somebody know you see them. You know they're important. You care. You know what I mean? It's good. Hey, okay, what's up? All right, you guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here because it looks like I have hit everybody with a little bit of love. And I want to tell you guys, there's a song that I was listening to before I really got started, and I'm not even sure if it's still in here or not. Let me see if it's still here. That might be it. Take that right there, you guys, and somebody go listen to that. Y'all may not even know who this cat is, but this is one of my favorites, and his name is Bill Woofer, and it's from way back then, but something hit me today, and it's called Wake Up. That's the name of his song, Wake Up. That's what I just put down there. That's what we all need to do, is wake up and focus on the stuff that's up under the smoke. You know, when they say stop, drop, and roll, do you know why? You got to stop, drop, and roll because that's where your safety is. That's where everything is that you can see and that you need. So you need to stop, drop, and roll, get down here up under the surface of the cloud that's been created for us and see. Until we see each other, guys, you guys continue to be blessed. All right.
The Lockhart Perspective.